we are going to our final presentation. Our project title is Remote Managed Router, and this is my group member name: Gustavo, Sarabjit, Gokul. My name is Hiral and Abdul Tasik. Next, our client name is Sue, and company name is URL Network. Our project supervisor is Dr. Tony Chan. Now I call.
Good evening, everyone. I'll discuss about the project overview. The content is URL networks are seeking to add an additional device network for their business, which allowing remotely controlled router through the online web interface. The remote management is we can access and manage the router from different locations through internet. The difference is between the just for the IP address, LAN IP, and internet IP. So the remote management router, which people can use and manage the websites through the computers. And for this, we can research two design approaches. The first one is the remote management router provision for the URL networks, and outsourcing the remote router management for the solar wings. These approaches, the first approach is talked from Abdul.
Thank you very much. As my friend discussed about the two approaches, one is the provisioning. So we have two options or two approaches from which we need to recommend to our URL networks which one they need to choose from. The first one is the remote router management provisioning for URL networks. So in this provisioning part, the basic things we require is that the generation of the configuration information for the router in the remotely located central configuration server. So definitely the remote device is the router, so we need to configure that router. So there is a configuration file needed for that. And the configuration information includes a device configuration parameter. So a particular parameter is included in that configuration information file. So that's going to be triggered by the remote device that is the router, and will save it into its own initial state and configure the router by itself. On the initial identification of the managed router, the central configuration server propagates the configuration information to the router. Actually, CSS is the central configuration server that is located in the URL networks, and it actually, once it identifies the router which is going to be configured by the server, it actually propagates or sends the configuration file to the router which is going to be managed remotely. So this is our basic block diagram which presents different steps or different interconnection between the routers and the configuration server file. So this area presents the area of the URL network in which different servers are located. And these servers, these are the routers which are remotely located in different organizations' networks. These routers actually access the central configuration server via different mechanisms. And central configuration server needs the help of the database, access module, configuration database, TCP server, and file server. So central configuration server actually sends the configuration file to the routers located in different areas. So this is the subdomain router, this is the configuration domain border router. So this is actually the backbone router located. Why these two are separate located? The reason is that this is backbone router which requires different kind of configuration file or parameter, and this requires actually different file. The reason is that this router actually having like area, subnet area. So this actually in the start this sends to the central configuration server his identification information, that who am I, where I am located, or what is my address or how many interfaces do I have, which interfaces do I have. All the information is sent by the router, the remote router, to the central configuration server. And then once it understands the whole information about the specific router that's going to be managed, sends the configuration file to the router. So this is the basic stuff that's going to be happen between these two devices. So how this like communication happens, how the router sends his own information to the central configuration server, that is basically happens by the DHCP DORA process. That is discover and offer and request and all that stuff. So this is basically configured by that. So the block diagram illustrating a central management system and the interaction between the central management system and the configuration domain border and router and subdomain border. So sorry, I couldn't explain this. Configuration domain border router means this is actually the backbone router, and this is actually the subdomain router in a particular organization. For example, in MIT, we have the backbone routers that is located in the top, that defined that requires different configuration and the rest are different. So go to the next slide, please. So this is the use cases that we have designed for this one. The first figure shows that the use case of the remotely configuring a router, and the second shows the use case of generating configuration information for a network device on the central configuration server and propagating this configuration information to the network device. In the first, what we do is that identify the central configuration server, identify the information for the network device, and propagate to central configuration server. And after that, it generate configuration information for network server on central configuration server and propagate to the network device construct. So once it sends the configuration file, so the router manages itself. And the second one, receive identification information. Once it receives the identification information, is received by the router actually identify its domain area and then generate configuration information according to the configuration domain and then propagate information according to that. So go to the next slide. This is the use case number 3, in which we construct a configure file on the remote router using configuration information received from the same central configuration server. So once the configuration file is sent by the server located in the URL networks, is sent to the remote router. So that is actually configured automatically by the remote router. And this is the DHCP actually process, the whole process that's going to be handled down by the remote router. So for the next approach, I will call Mrs. Sarabji to present it.
I will try to very quick to explain this approach. So our second approach is about the outsourcing. So we have a software which we are going to hire from SolarWinds. This software is RIM, remote monitoring and management. So this software is basically designed for IT professional and those for MPS. Those are companies providing managed service provider. And this is capable for remotely implement performance and security check, for example, for patch management. And this is also capable to monitor a huge amount of computers from a single dashboard. So there are other capability in which it consumes like virtual machine virtual monitoring and antivirus monitoring and so on. So this is also have a security patches installed without need to using any third-party tools. So for example, if we have to change any security changes, so we needed to go in field, so we can monitor it by on our own dashboard. So this slide is about how we can enable our routers for remote management. So there are simple steps. So first we have to access our router's web-based setup page. For this process, we have to connect our router with our computer. So and we have to apply the password and admin and password. And then we have to, it will open the administration web page. On that one we have to go to administration. and then we have to change the password, router password, because by default the router password is already password, so we have to change it to add our security purpose. So then we have to, it will show the button for remote management. We have to check that to enable it for remote management, and we have to save the setting. Thank you. So now I will call to guys.
So based on the research that we did both in-house and outsourcing the network provisioning for the client who would recommend doing the provisioning on site, having their own equipment there. Next slide. That's all based, so we compared both options, having in-house or having outsourcing, and doing the provisioning themselves. They would invest less, but that means that they already have most of the equipment on site. They would have to probably add a few virtual servers or something like that to have all the services that they want. So it will be less investment on that. Also, customer retention and satisfaction, they will be adding that to the services that they already provide. So it's something that they can add to the portfolio as a service. Also, that is good for the brand, saying that, but that's something else that they can do, an extra service to their brand. And since they're going to be making less investment on that, the investment cost will be lower, the profit will be higher. But on the outsourcing case, comparing the benefits of it, outsourcing, it will be easier for them to manage because they won't have to manage at all. A third-party company would be managing the routers and the equipment. They would also less expensive with management. Because if you're going to do it in-house, they would be going to have to hire some sort of a network administrator or staff to assist them with the managing of the network provision, and also less equipment. They wouldn't have to spend any money on buying or upgrading the equipment that they would have to for providing the network. So in the limitations and conclusion for our project was impacted by the time frame with the client and all of that, and also since we didn't have a physical client, we didn't have access to the environment that we are talking about. So our project was based on the research that we did and on the visual environment that we created. So we were limited by that. And also the conclusion, like we mentioned before, based on facts and the research that we did, and based on the type of service that URL Networks is providing, and for the brand that they want to build for themselves, we recommended provisioning the network in-house. And these are the sources that we used for this project. That's it.